We're back, guys. Okay, so earlier today, we read Genesis chapter 7, and that was about Noah bringing in, Noah bringing in the all of the animals. I think it was 7 pairs of clean animals, and then 1 pair of unclean animals, and then 7 pairs of all the birds and stuff like that. Now we're gonna read Genesis 8. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Genesis chapter 8, verse 1. God remembered Noah, every living thing, and all the livestock with him in the ark. So God caused a wind to pass over the earth, and the water began to go down. Also, the fountains of the deep and the windows of the sky were stopped. The rain from the sky was restrained, and the water came back from completely covering the earth. It was after 150 days that the water went down. On the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. The water kept going down until the 10th month. On the first day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen. All right, so we have a timeline here of how long the flood was, when all of that rain and stuff finally stopped, and then when the water started to recede. And I, in my last read through, which is my current personal read through, I started a timeline. So I'm also going to edit and post that too, because I think right about now is a good time to start sharing a timeline with you guys. So I'll do that later. Anyway, continuing on, Genesis 8:6. After 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark which he had built, and he sent out a raven, which flew back and forth until the water had dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove to see if the water had gone from the surface of the ground. But the dove found no place for her feet to rest, so she returned to him in the ark, because the water still covered the whole earth. He put out his hand, took her, and brought her in to him in the ark. He waited another 7 days, and again sent the dove out from the ark. The dove came in to him in the evening, and there in her mouth was a freshly plucked olive leaf. So Noah knew that the water had cleared from the earth. He waited yet another 7 days, and he sent out the dove, and she didn't return to him any more. By the first day of the first month of the 601st year, the water had dried up from off the earth. So Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and yes, the surface of the ground was dry. It was on the 27th day of the 2nd month that the earth was dry. God said to Noah, "Get out from the ark, you, your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing that you have with you, birds, livestock, and every animal that creeps on the earth, so that they can swarm on the earth, be fruitful, and multiply on the earth." So Noah went out with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives. Every animal, every creeping thing, and every bird, whatever moves on the earth according to their families, went out of the ark. Noah built an altar to Adonai. Then he took from every clean animal and every clean bird, and he offered burnt offerings on the altar. God smelled the sweet aroma, and Adonai said in his heart, "I will never again curse the ground because of humankind, since the imaginations of a person's heart are evil from his youth. Nor will I ever again destroy all living things as I have done. So long as the earth exists, sowing time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, and day and night will not cease." And that is the end of chapter 8. And I think that chapter 8 leaves off on a good note, especially in the times that we're in. So, there's a lot of talk about coronavirus and all kinds of other crazy, events that are going on in the world and have been going on in the world. But we just got a promise from Noah that happened thousands and thousands of years before we ever walked the earth, that as long as the earth is here, God isn't going to destroy it because of humankind. Now, that doesn't mean that God isn't going to punish humankind for the evil that they do, but He's not going to destroy the whole world because of it. And that's a good thing. God always leaves a remnant. God has always left a remnant, and we can see that with Noah. Now, I'm not going to say that Adam and Eve to me kind of, or not Adam and Eve, but Noah and his family kind of seem like an Adam and Eve after God had, destroyed everything on the face of the earth. So it's basically like a new Genesis, if that makes sense. And you'll see that throughout the Bible. God, whenever he punishes humankind for all of the sin that they've committed, he always leaves a remnant to spread his work again. And then we get to a point where there's a whole bunch of people, and then they all start getting prideful, and they all start going against God, and then God has to check them again. It's a continual cycle, and we can see it. Now, the first time that God decided to punish humankind like that, he went and just wiped everything off the face of the earth. But we can see here that he's not going to do that anymore. He's only going to get rid of the evil people and not the whole. He's only going to cut off what isn't serving humankind and what's not serving God. So that's a motivational kind of thing. Like, no matter what, as long as you're doing, good things and trusting God and believing in him, then you really don't have anything to worry about, because he's going to sustain you. And no matter what happens to the world, right, no matter what happens in the world, God will always preserve his chosen people. Anyway, we got 2 more chapters, and then I'm going to update our instructions to man list, and I think we'll also update the timeline every 5 chapters. I think that's reasonable. So expect an update on the documents that we have out now, and the future documents to come. They'll probably be updated every 5 chapters. So that's maybe like 2.5, 3 days. Depends. Anyway, that's it for Genesis 8. Genesis chapter 9 we'll do tomorrow morning. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you then.